have an informative classic oral presentation. And what I intend to do is to demonstrate how language and meaning are shaped by context and culture. And I'm also going to connect this to the guiding question of how does language reinforces stereotypes, and I will be focusing on the women's stereotype, very stereotypical women. For this, what I intend to do is I will be analyzing two cartoons, which are my primary resources that I'm studying in class. So, sorry. But before I start, I'm just going to tell about a personal story that relates to the topic. So, when I first moved to Brazil and I didn't speak Portuguese at all, I decided to go to the beach and, just head like a normal person. And I turned around and I need glasses, I can't see from far away, and there was this poster that said, aceitamos, and I was like, oh, in Brazil people put oil on people, because, that's normal. Because in the context of Brazil, it was like, Brazil's not so conservative compared to Colombia, or anything like that, so I was like, this actually happens in Brazil. So I decided to approach and just ask, not for me, but like just to see what was going on. And then I realized that below the things like credit card, debit card, and any sort of payment, so I was like, oh, it actually means accept. So it was really embarrassing because I did get to ask the woman about her putting oil on myself. Very embarrassing. But yeah, so this relates to the outcome of how, context of course, Brazil relates to how meaning of language changes. So now I'm going to go ahead. This is my first cartoon, which we study in class. And this is my second cartoon that we also study in class. And so I'm going to start by analyzing this cartoon. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the target audience. So here, the target audience are girls. And we know this because, first of all, no guys are involved. Second of all, it is very girly scenery, so we have like a unicorn picture, we have like a teddy bear, dolls, we have very girly stuff like this pillows with like fluffy kind of things that guys would not have at all. And but most importantly, we know this because you can't really see, but it says I can't decide what I'm going to be when I grow up, a good girl or a slut. And we know that this is intended for just girls, just because the word slut doesn't exist in the guy community, and so it does only exist in the girl community, so this is just only for girls. However, it is not intended for every single girl, and this is because if it was intended for every single girl in the world, then the cartoon would have, I don't know, if for instance we think of like Muslim country, this ad would have the girls would have their hair covered, or the text would just be completely unacceptable, because a slut means somebody that sleeps with many people, and it's very common, very often, and that is very unacceptable in the Muslim culture. So in the Muslim context of a country, the ad would be very unacceptable. And in our culture, even though it is very unacceptable, we do accept the fact that this happens very, very often. So that's why it's only intended for, Western girls, Latin girls, like North America, South America, Europe, stuff like that. Now, the purpose of the cartoon. So the purpose of the cartoon is to highlight the issue that nowadays young girls are having the idea that in the future they could either be a good girl or a slut. And so it's just that it's not in any way to degrade women or men or anything like that. And it also challenges, connecting back to my guiding question, it also challenges the stereotypical women. And this is because women, a very stereotypical woman would be somebody that would stay home, that's very meek, someone they would think in the future as being a housemaid or a housewife or just a maid, and we hear it saying either a good girl or a slut, so it does challenge stereotypical women. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the content and themes. So, the content, so what's actually happening is, it's a very casual day. It's something that's happening very normally. You know, two girls having a casual day, playing with dolls, just something that they would do, having a normal conversation. And that's the thing, the fact that they're having a normal conversation, and the conversation is this type of conversation about their future, but not just a good future, just two ideas, two paths for their future. So that's the actual theme that they're discussing. This type of conversation in very casual form. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about tone and mood. So the tone is very reflective. The author does reflect on the issue. It is very passive, as the scenery is very tranquil, calm, very casual. The tone is also tranquil. It's very similar, and the mood, it's what the audience gets, and it's very overwhelmed with the situation and the fact that this issue is actually happening, so it is very overwhelming. It is also the feeling of being annoyed, so many people do get annoyed with this type of things happening. And it's also very shocking to see this thing, so that's the mood. Now, I'm going to start talking about stylistic devices here. And the author uses, the artist uses very strong language. So the word slut is a word that we just wouldn't use very common, something that we wouldn't use in a classroom or say it to young children. It's a very strong word, it's a swear word. And what it does is it emphasizes on the issue, and it's such a strong word. What it does, it exaggerates to an extent, and so that exaggeration, it makes the audience understand and emphasize on the issue that's happening. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about my second cartoon. So it says, oh yeah, well, your dad's a feminist, so here it's like thinking about the word I was going to say. And what I'm going to talk here about is, okay, so the target audience. So here, what I thought of the target audience was the global population. But before I explain why I thought it was the global population, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the purpose. So the purpose of this ad is, just like the other cartoon, is to highlight the issue that nowadays it's very common and very often that people use words that relate to women as insults. So for instance, many people say, oh my god, you're such a girl, or you throw like a girl, you fight like a girl. Even girls say that to guys or to even girls. So that's the issue, and that's what the artist wanted to highlight that. And so it really, here, the cartoon, you see that the word feminist, we all know what feminist is, fight for equal rights. However, the word itself does relate to girls because the first part is F-E-M-I, which is feminine, and it goes along, has a direct correlation with feminine, which relates to girls. So it is a word that's used to girls, and it's insulting guys. So if you say like your dad, so it's not like your mother, because you can't insult your mother with being a feminist. That's not what people usually do, so they do insult just guys. So that's the purpose. And so that's why I thought it was the global population, because this issue is happening globally. It doesn't affect one gender more than it affects the other. It is also an issue that's being highlighted for everybody to understand. And it is not for a specific age, because it is for young people, for elderly people, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and so on. So that's why I thought it was a global population. Now, the content thing, so the content, just like the other ads, they're very similar. It's a very casual day. Cartoon, go back. Here, you see it's just like a normal street, a normal city, nothing abnormal going on, and two guys are just having an argument, and it happens very often, so it is a very casual scenery, and that's the content. And the theme is, well, the fact that in a very casual day, you see how a very common conversation or an argument is used, and the fact that the word feminist is used as an insult. But if you think about it, it's like saying, oh my god, your dad fights for equal rights. So it is very, very overwhelming to see this type of ads and cartoons. Now, that was the content and the theme. Oh. artist does question not only the global population and society, but also it questions the stereotypical woman, and this is because, as I said before, a stereotypical woman would be somebody weak, somebody that stays home, that cleans the house, takes care of the children, you know, walks the dog and stuff like that. And so in the ad, when they say like the feminists related to you're such a girl, and we see how they're touted somebody, like a guy, which the stereotypical guy would be somebody strong, somebody that goes off to work and brings back home money and stuff like that. So he does challenge that, because by saying that, it's telling a guy that he's the opposite of what he should be. So that's why this one's very questioning. It's also very objective as it goes straight. And the mood is very odd, so people do get amazed with this. And just like the other one, it's very annoying. I mean, people do get annoyed when they see this type of ads, especially women. And yeah, it's very overwhelming and shocking, just like the other ones. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the supervisors. However, this part is just going to be for the 2 cartoons, because so the artist use like a very casual context, and so with this, what it makes is that it makes both conversations very casual, and so that's what he's trying to do, to make this type of conversations a very casual thing, an often thing to do. Something that happens. And okay, so just to conclude, as you can see with both my cartoons and my personal story, we see how context and culture, just like the context of Brazil and the context of both cartoons, affect the meaning of language. So in the context of Brazil, I shaped the meaning of language by saying that aceitamos was something acceptable, something that people put oil on other people. And with both cartoons, we see how it is very, just like I explained this, to supervise, the context is very casual, very common. So what it does is that it makes both conversations a very casual thing, and that's how culture and language, context and culture shape the meaning of language.
Okay, that was excellent.